Welcome back to Two Down Territory, everyone. As your resident Chiefs fan, I just have a few quick messages that I want to pass along. And I'm going to do it while brandishing this katana. Rick Burkholder, the head athletic trainer of the Kansas City Chiefs, your days are numbered. Matt Nagy, the offensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs, your days are especially numbered. The number's very, very small. I'll go ahead and say Julie Freimer, assistant athletic trainer. Let's throw you under the bus. Delegate all you want. Your days are numbered. Mike Frazier, the athletic trainer, the strength and development coach, your days are numbered. My king, Patrick Mahomes, has torn his ACL, and someone needs to be held responsible. And I don't really know what to do. I'm in a position where I am going to make threats, but it is mostly joking. I will mostly not be counting down the days. Matt Nagy is really the only one. Matt Nagy, do you see this blade, how sharp it is? It will cut you. But I will dent it before I use it, so it is much slower and more painful. Thank you. And you can roll the intro now.
2 inches short, maybe less. Story of my life. It's been a while since he's seen a hole that big.
If you say he's a bust and you end up right, it's not because you're some genius. It's because you got lucky.
How I feel, man? Tell me how I feel, El Freaky.
We pray that these perk 30s would nourish us and allow us to throw the ball.
They got to go get this bread.
If you suck, you might as well suck with purpose. And so... throw Duke Tobin and Katie Blackburn right in there.
Yeah, Duke Tobin needs to be. I mean,
if you're gonna throw in people, let's just throw them back.
Some of the Hunt
mix.
daughters are too bad, and I mean bad in a
in a good way.
In a good way for me to get mad at them. Ladies, you're safe with me. Don't worry. In fact, I'll use this to protect you. I want to say Marsha Hunt.
Bro, that's your in.
But I think that may be the mom, so I don't want to go with Marsha Hunt. Although Marsha, I am interested.
Call me.
Hit me up. Do you mess with guys that make $18.50 an hour?
Yeah, dude. The Chiefs are cooked. This is
mathematically
pretty sad for you. Not just mathematically, but also, just the time frame of the injury is definitely going to be an interesting question.
I mean, it's it's ACL,
throwing...
not Achilles.
Yes, true. Well, the thing is that like Achilles injuries, there's been a lot of like progression in medical science, and there has with the ACL as well, in terms of like when you are back. Like, it's not as worse in terms of the long-term repercussions of it. Like, there are so many examples of players who've torn their ACL who come back and they're just like exactly how they were before.
Yeah.
The real question is, how long is it going to take and how that's going to impact next season?
Yeah, I mean, we can start projecting long down the road. I will say, obviously, of course, it's biased, but at the same way, Andy Reid had his press conference, and he did sound legitimately genuine when he said that it's not as bad as it could have been, and he will be like fine 100%. Ultimately. So I take that pretty well. Very little grain of salt there. The other thing too is, and I say this like it's hyperbolic, but also not really, like, we will invest the GDP of Kansas City into making sure this man is okay. Like, he is getting medical treatment that is probably only short of what the president of the United States. Like, Patrick Mahomes is getting better medical treatment than probably 75% of world leaders. So
than Biden did when they said he was aight.
I don't know. Biden may have been receiving some amazing medical treatment. I mean, they threw him out on stage a couple of times. That's a bold choice. Yeah, we're getting political on
Anyway.
Two Down territory. That's where
Yeah,
we're at.
that's what happened. That's where we're at. No, the thing is, with this whole situation is that I hate how people are throwing around numbers. Like, because people are like, oh, well, generally it's 9 months. And other people are like, nah, it's going to take a year. Did you see it? And it's like, you don't know. Like, we don't.
Yeah, you have
The
no
report
clue.
that I saw said a torn ACL plus. Basically, what that means is, the LCL might have been involved, the MCL might have been involved. All that being said, like, the truth of the matter is, long term, it's not really going to be that impactful. And we'll see how much it impacts next year. I'm sure it's going to impact, at least it's probably going to last for a few weeks into the season, but I'm sure that Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to be fine. The other thing too is that, like, here's the fact of the matter. When you are a quarterback who plays out long, it's really a matter of time, right? Like, one thing that I've always said about the Chiefs dynasty is the fact that the reason why, like, dynasties, while there is a certain, like, line that a team has to cross in terms of individual greatness and skill from the players, there's also, like, confounding variables that just have to swing your way in order for it to happen. And this is a point I make a lot when I'm talking about the Patriots and Tom Brady. The fact that they, up until this point, haven't had something like this with Patrick Mahomes is in and of itself pretty impressive.
I mean, and in one sense, it's also
he's had the
literally
little dinky
identical
stuff
to the Brady timeline.
to Tom Brady.
Tore
Yeah,
his
it is.
ACL in year 9, and I know that comparison's been thrown around. I won't make too much of that, other than the point is to say, and I think long term, this is something I'm going to hold on to it. It may be silly, but I am going to get a little bit annoyed because maybe, who knows, 3 years from now, we will look back and say, oh, that was the end of the dynasty, or at least that phase of the dynasty. But it's also like, going into next year, technically, like, a team has to be bad, or like there has to be an extended break from success. Like, the dynasty isn't just over
100%.
now. It could be, but you can't say that
We
as a
don't know.
literal fact.
Absolutely.
We're in a middle area.
Well,
right
and
now.
the thing with Tom Brady, and you use that example just because this is a perfect example of a dynasty that's really based upon a quarterback and centric to that, which is almost kind of unique with the Patriots and now the Chiefs. But the reason I'm saying that is just to say, like to your point, like, we don't know. We don't know if the dynasty is over. It depends. Like, next year, they could be back in the Super Bowl, and we would say that this is just like one step in the overarching dynasty. Maybe it takes 4 years, and just like Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, like, messes around and wins 3 more, right? Like, you never know. The only thing is, and I think that the one point to be made, which is a stupid point, or like a meaningless point let me rephrase that. It is a good point to make in a meaningless conversation. Which is that because of the longevity of Tom Brady, that adds an element that it's hard for Patrick Mahomes to catch up if we're talking about, like, the GOAT conversation, but we can move on.
Well, I guess the one thing I will say is that when we look back long term across all of this, the one thing that we can definitively say at this point that will be the difference potentially in, and not in a good or bad way, just a difference between Mahomes and Brady, is that Mahomes will outplay his coach. And that's something that Brady chose to leave while his coach, and his coach still coached past his retirement, where I don't know exactly what timeline you want to put onto it, and I'm already hearing some conversations that I don't enjoy about, Andy Reid. Is it time, another year or two? But more likely than not, barring some like horrific injury disaster, Mahomes will be outplaying Reid, so that will add a factor to the discussion that will become interesting if he can sustain success without Reid. But
this is a conversation for 5 years down the road. Let's talk about a pretty interesting week 15, really? It's already week 15? Yeah.
It's already week 15.
Week 15.
Or week 15 already passed us.
Right. My overarching view, especially for the AFC, the way that the games went this year basically solidified the spots. Really, if you're looking at it like, okay, from seeding, So from 1 through 7, I'm going to say the team and their chances of making the playoffs according to ESPN. Broncos 100%, Patriots 99%, Buffalo 99%, Jacksonville 98%, Texans 95%, Chargers 95%, and then that is in order. I lied. That's an order of like their percentage of making the playoffs or their percentage chance of making the playoffs. And then really the only question mark is just like who's going to win the North, Pittsburgh or the Ravens.
Yeah.
And Pittsburgh has a 55% chance. The Ravens have a 46% chance, according to this. It's just going to
now there still could be drastic seeding differences. I mean, it is worth
that's for sure.
Pointing out. Obviously, now and we'll get into these games. Obviously, with Buffalo's win against New England in a pretty fantastic game, that division is not 100%. In fact, it's very much viable for the Bills to still win that. It's also worth discussing. Something that's been under-discussed, I think, is the Chargers' viability to win the West, because they still have to play the Broncos. So if they beat the Broncos, that closes the gap right there. And so, I mean, and obviously the North is up for question. Literally every single division in the AFC is up for question with the Jaguars and the Texans. So while we know pretty much who the teams are going to be, every seeding possibility is up in the air, quite literally every single one.
Yep. Yeah, so that's definitely... I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah. Well, how about we just jump right straight into the games?
That's definitely the way it is.
That's definitely real. What you said was true. Let's start off Thursday night. Bucs Falcons.
The Buccaneers.
This was lame, dude. This was such a lame game to watch.
It really was. I mean, Kirk Cousins, I think, has a personal vendetta against Tampa Bay because obviously kind of not as incredible of a stat line as his one last season, but I mean, basically still, I don't know how.
Todd Bowles
needs to go.
It was his rant afterwards was really, really funny, where he was basically just cussing out the reporters and then blaming the players. The truth is that Kirk Cousins is not good, and physically he is bad. But he can read a defense. And the problem is that Todd Bowles does not do a lot of disguising. He basically is like, we're going to send pressure and it's going to come right here.
No, as soon as Liam Cohen left the Bucs, it's clear to me that even though he's not calling the offensive plays, clearly this has Todd Bowles' fingerprints on it, at least more input. I mean, I understand that they're still technically, if they beat the Panthers at that point, basically a cinch to win the division, so you can't fire your coach when you're still a decently heavy favorite to win the division. Yeah. But I'm being dead serious. Todd Bowles really pushed the line into, can you fire a head coach when you are still more likely than not going to win your division with 3 weeks left in the season? I mean, that was like I don't usually go on this type of rant, and it's not really a rant, and I don't like to call for people's jobs necessarily. Like, that was pretty egregious. That, like, for a lot of people, that's a fireable offense to be that atrocious for that many weeks in a row, and then to come out and do this, like, performative dropping, F-bombs and blaming your players. That was, I don't know.
That was not cool.
No.
That was not cool. As far as game notes, one thing I wrote down is Kyle Pitts is back, and in parentheses, I knew it.
You've known it for the last 5 years, Adam.
I've known it this whole time, man. I'm telling you. No, Kyle Pitts had an incredible game. Bijan Robinson, he's so good, dude.
I mean,
the way that he's developed into a pass catcher, and I love the storyline of how he worked with CMC in the offseason and how much that's impacted his game. Like, you can really tell that CMC has had an impact on him. Just so incredible. His vision with his twitchiness is incredible. Because I feel like sometimes you have players, which is Bijan Robinson is literally a mix of everything you want. Like, there is no archetype.
No.
for Bijan Robinson. There's no, oh, well, he's a speed guy. Oh, he's a pass catcher. Oh, he can work out of the backfield. Oh, he's a bruiser. Like, he can do everything. And you saw that in this game. That catch out of bounds that didn't count was so awesome from a running back.
I mean, Bijan Robinson is
so
kind
incredible.
of proof of, the saying, when you say it, in its fullness, jack of all trades, master of none, but better still than a master of one. Like, is he as powerful as Derrick Henry? No. Is he as much of a weapon out of the backfield as CMC? No. Is he as speedy as a Jahmyr Gibbs or a Devon Achane? No. But when he's basically top 3 in all of those aspects, you really don't care. Like, he's just an all-around weapon.
And you add to that, like, a jump cut and the vision of Saquon Barkley.
His jump cut.
Like arguably better than Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, that may be the one area where he definitely
that's the one thing where
probably
it's like,
the best cutter.
Snap.
Yes.
It's one of those things where it's like, because there are running backs where you can see athletically they have the ability to make these cuts, but they just like cut into a guy. Like, when he makes a cut and he's just gone, and it's like, oh my gosh, how did all of that space come about?
To make
like, I don't know where this space came from.
To make a somewhat cross-positional analogy, he has the cutting ability of Saquon, but he combines that with Travis Kelce's stupid little turnaround, like Travis Kelce's field awareness, where it's like he somehow always knows the way to turn his body and be open.
Beyond pisses me off, because to this day,
no one can do it. He's literally
it's
like
not even fast.
60% of his speed that he was, and he's in his prime, and it works every single time when Travis Kelce does it.
It's like, these are young, like 23-year-old guys, and he does like the slowest spin move ever.
Like, I will reenact
and this guy is just like jumping across the other way.
He catches it, the DB's right behind me, and he goes, and the DBs just dive this way. It's awesome.
This is a tangent. I think a lot of it has to do when people, a lot of it has to do with where Mahomes puts the ball.
Oh, 100%.
Because I think oftentimes what's really happening is the DB is reacting to where the ball is, and yet Kelce is able to do this really quickly.
Yes, because Kelce will catch a ball, and that's the thing where it's like, it kind of looks like Mahomes is throwing the ball behind him, but they have such a connection that he knows he's doing it intentionally. He throws the ball over here, and so the DB's expecting him to turn with the ball, and he just immediately goes this way.
Right. Anyway, back to this game. Kyle Pitts is a dog. The Buccaneers finally have their receiving core, and it worked at times, but then in the end didn't really work. This was a perfect example, I think, of the Falcons, but the difference is this is like the first game where they played a losing brand of football but somehow won, because right at the end the Bucs blew it. There were 3 fumbles overall. The Bucs got one, and then there's that clip of Darnell Mooney fumbling the ball with like 6 Buccaneers around him, and he somehow
that image of that made me laugh when I saw it. I was like, how?
I was like, this is so ridiculous. So like I actually felt good about the Bucs, except for like the last like quarter, basically, where it was like Cousins knew what the defense was doing, like giving up a 3rd and 28 and then a 4th and 17, like being 3rd and 28. That is what's weird, is that the Bucs
actually looked better, at least offensively, than they have for like 3 weeks straight. And in a weird sense, as much as I like dissed on the Bucs, I probably am leaning picking them against the Panthers coming up, but there's a lot of factors there. We can move on to the Sunday slate, however.
Yeah, the first game I want to talk about is Bills-Pats.
Yep. I mean, this was the headliner of the noon slate. Kind of surprised that it didn't get flexed to Sunday Night Football, but I'm sure there was some rights deal where CBS wasn't going to give that up. I was legitimately shocked that Buffalo came back.
Really?
like in a way where it almost made me question, like, oh, I should know that the Bucs and Josh Allen have this ability. But I really just thought that this game was over from about the
Oh,
jump. And then all of a sudden the Bills come racing back into it. And then this was just a heavyweight fight. Because all of a sudden the Bucs I keep on saying the Bucs, the Bills come in, take the lead, and then you have Travion Henderson go for another 60-yard rushing touchdown. Drake May is his lead blocker, outrunning
that was such
DBs.
an awesome play.
That was an incredible play. And I was like, oh, just back and forth this whole second half. I guess I come away from it thinking worse about the Patriots purely because I knew that the Bills defense already was not good. We kind of finally got to see that the Patriots defense has some holes in it, which was the big thing going into the season. And so I really don't know how to think about the Patriots after this, because on the one hand, they have such an ability to put up points and to look efficient and just march the ball down the field, but also have these explosive plays. In a way, it's kind of like, now that Travion Henderson has come on, the Eagles of last season, where they can either march you down the field or just beat you in one 50-plus yard play on a drive.
Yeah.
I don't know. Them in the playoffs is going to be such a situational matchup element. And you throw in the fact that it's going to be a second-year quarterback's postseason debut. A lot of thoughts on this game, but I've been ranting. You go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, so I just want to first I want to break down the game. So first, obviously in the first half, the Bills were down 24-7. And that came off of two touchdowns from Drake May, in which he scrambled in. There were multiple long runs. There were multiple long touchdown, or there was a long rushing touchdown in the first half. And more specifically, I want to talk about how good Mike Vrabel is as a defensive coach. And just like the whole defensive scheme that they employed. Josh Allen was kept off guard. They used a QB spy on Josh Allen a lot throughout the first half, and really the whole game. They did a stunt towards the outside on almost every play. They basically said that we believe that our big men can sustain the middle and reduce that running lane, and we are going to ensure that if Josh Allen is going to run the ball, he's not running outside. That was really great. And then their coverage was really, really good, which, makes sense because, if there's anything that the Bills don't have, it's a decent receiving core.
Yes.
So in the first half, here's an interesting stat. In the first half, the Bills' offensive success rate was 33.3%. So honestly, not terrible, but definitely not good, especially compared to the offensive production that the Patriots had. But then we get into the second half. So the Bills scored a touchdown on 5 straight drives, and their offensive success rate jumped from 33.3% to 54.3%. And so you said that you were surprised that the Bills came back. I wasn't, as soon as I saw the first drive in the second half. The reason why is because when I was watching this game, what I was looking at was the Patriots selling out to stop Josh Allen. And I was reminded a lot of the AFC Championship, Bengals versus Chiefs, in where the Bengals ended up winning, where they employed a lot of the same schemes that the Bills did, or the Patriots did, to stop Josh Allen. And I'm sure you were yelling at your screen, as was the rest of America, what happens if they run the ball? The difference is the Bills ran the ball in the second half. In fact, the offense went to a negative 4.7% pass rate over expected.
Yeah.
In the second half, the Bills did. So basically that means that, again, pass rate over expected, it's pretty self-explanatory. What percentage of the time are you passing over what the expected, what a team would be expected to, given the context of where you're at in the game? especially when you're down by so much, right? That's why
Yeah.
this number is so egregious. James Cook led the charge. He had 22 carries, and he produced a 94th percentile EPA per rush performance. Then they got to the red zone. And what did they do in the red zone? They passed to their tight ends. Tight ends had 6 receptions on 7 targets for 61 yards, and tight ends generated 8.5 total EPA. The reason why this game actually kind of proved my thoughts on both the Patriots and the Bills. Regarding the Bills, it's that they are a team that, as long as that they just have the answers, that they have a run game that you can rely on if the defense is able to stop Josh Allen. And we're going to talk about this in a later video, but I personally think that there are not a lot of teams, especially in the playoffs in the AFC, that in and of themselves, there's basically 2, that in and of themselves can stop Josh Allen. And there's not really any team that I think that can stop Josh Allen, that can stop the run while trying to stop Josh Allen, that they can't do both. And I think that Joe Brady is a good enough offensive coordinator to exploit that. Because here's the thing, and we keep talking about the Chiefs, but what the Chiefs have been able to do to the Bills in the past is Steve Spagnuolo has this incredible way of both being able to rush the quarterback while also playing incredibly disciplined in the run game.
Teacher,
and
can I raise my hand and make a point as to why that is?
Yes.
It's single-handedly because of 2 people. Steve Spagnuolo, who designs the schemes to have blitz packages from the linebackers and the cornerbacks, and you're able to offset that in the run game by having an interior tackle in Chris Jones who can muck up the run game. So you can simultaneously contain the edge and blow up the middle when you have a guy like Chris Jones. If it wasn't for Chris Jones, that scheme over the last 6 years would not have worked against the Bills.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I don't know if there's a team in the AFC playoffs that can do that.
The only team is the Broncos.
That I want to point out.
And there's severe questions about that.
I 100% agree. Exactly. The next thing is regarding the Patriots. I know that the Patriots lost. I've been talking about the argument of the Patriots' easy schedule a lot on this podcast, and basically saying that would make sense if it wasn't for the fact that they keep winning all the time.
Yeah, you don't win 10
this
straight.
game. Right. This game solidified in my mind that they can compete with top dogs in the AFC, and that they totally have a chance to make a run. And again, the fact is that defensively they provide such a floor Vrabel provides such a floor. Offensively, it really is just going to come down to Drake May, and does he have that dog in him in the playoffs?
And I think that's the silver lining to this game if you're a Patriots fan, in terms of like, this was as close as you're going to get to a playoff game before you actually enter the playoffs. Yeah. And Drake May almost got to get those jitters out of him, because the offense did turn into, nothing. It was mostly non-existent, except for one explosive Travion Henderson touchdown in the second half. And so the hope is that you learn from that. But like you said, we are officially at the point, and this is simultaneously a compliment to Drake May, but also pressure on him, where the Patriots do go as he goes.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll say regarding the AFC East, I would be kind of shocked if the Patriots don't win it.
That is fair.
I know that technically this doesn't eliminate the Bills. The Patriots right now are, what are they? They've lost 3 games, so they're 11-3. And the Bills are 10-4. So there is a 1-game difference. The Bills, actually, I take that back. I'm looking at their schedules.
I don't know what the tiebreaker is if they tie, though. I think it would go to conference win percentage, and what would that look like?
Feels like feels like Patriots to me, just because.
That's fair. Who have the Bills lost to, however? I'm trying to do some live math.
They've lost to the Texans. They've lost to the Patriots, obviously. which that one kind of cancels out. Then the Falcons, they've lost to the Dolphins. I don't think it's going to be conference. I think it's going to be.
No, it is. Well, I guess it would be record in divisional games. No, it would be record in divisional games.
It would be record in divisional
and
games.
And the Patriots would probably
have that. Assuming the Patriots win their it'd be that Dolphins loss.
It'd be the Dolphins loss. If the Dolphins lost, then it goes down.
Because the Patriots' last 3 games are Ravens, which could be tricky, but I think the Patriots have that one, and then Jets, Dolphins. So, if the Patriots win out, obviously it's theirs, which I think is likely. But even if they lose to the Dolphins and the Bills go to or win out,
no. The Dolphins. I'm doing some quick math here in my head, but I'm 90% sure this is correct, and then we can move on. If the Patriots lose to the Dolphins, that actually is the one game they can't lose. Because if the Bills win out, they overtake them. Because by losing to the Dolphins, they would then be tied with the Bills in the division. And that would be a conference loss, which would actually mean the Bills would overtake them. So the Patriots just can't lose. If they can lose one more game, it can't be to Miami.
Yep, exactly. Okay, we can, which honestly, you look at the playoff seeding and it's almost like, whatever. Because for the Patriots, it's more about like, can they win the AFC? More than can they win the AFC East? Because
home field advantage is pretty big.
But the way that the seeding works out, it almost is favorable to be the 5 seed as opposed to the 3 seed.
Potentially, yes, potentially. But we can move to, the rest of the noon slate. Ravens, Bengals. Sorry, we're not going to spend any time on that. I won't make you wallow in it.
No, the only thing I wrote down was my mild take, which was a emotional take about Joe Burrow's comments last week. No one's talking about it because it's not as exciting as people saying, making mock trades or whatever. He basically, not only did the reports of people close to him, but also he himself after the game basically said, I don't want to leave Cincinnati. I'm not planning on retiring.
Yeah.
The only questions he had was just the size of the staffing and scouting department. But that'll be a topic for the offseason.
Yep. The Bears decimate the Browns as we knew they would, although Myles Garrett gets one more sack. He's 1 away from tying it and 2 or 1.5 away from breaking the all-time sack record, which he does need to he needs to get. Here's a hot take. He needs to break it, and I'm not saying this for myself. He needs to break the record by at least 1.5 and not 2, or else people will still say, well, Strahan did it with 2 less games.
Well, or he could just break it by week 16.
Or he could just do that. That's a good point. Yep. If he gets
or week 17, I'm sorry, because that'll be 16 games.
Exactly. Now we can move on to Payne. The Chargers and the Chiefs. There's really not that much to say about this game. The Chiefs played exactly like they have for the last 4 weeks, although it did really look like they were going to go down and at least send it to overtime. And then, of course, the play happened for Mahomes, and then Gardner Minshew throws an interception. It is what it is.
What a bonehead. Here's the thing, though. I think the saddest part, and again, I'm not a Chiefs fan, but just being a football fan, it is kind of sad that one of the last throws to Travis Kelce is that interception.
Yes,
it's not his fault.
There's a whole other conversation, and we won't have that right now because it could last for 15 minutes. I'm not sure whether this situation leads to more likely that Travis retires or more likely that he comes back.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a whole other conversation that we can have in the off season, because I'm sure there will be comments that are made after the season that we can work on from there. But moving on, the Commanders did end up beating the Giants, which is the last thing that the Commanders wanted to do, but I guess good for them for getting a meaningless win. Jackson Dart is has officially entered concussion protocol in half of all of the games that he's played. If he enters a football game, it is a coin flip that he will go into concussion protocol.
Whether or not. Not good.
Very not good. Shockingly, I don't know what conversations that'll lead to. Again, it is still my theory that he gets hit harder because DBs in the film room know beforehand that they can hit him harder because of the way he plays, and the refs aren't calling it. I think it's actually it's getting to
100%.
the point where it's similar. Do you remember the narrative that wasn't even narrative, it was just the truth, that Justin Fields was not getting reffed the same way and protected like quarterbacks do in previous seasons?
Yes.
That's what's happening to Jackson Dart right now, where it's like the refs and his play style combined have led to a situation where I promise you DBs of Giants opponents are in the film room going into the week and saying, we can just hit this guy as hard as we want and they won't do anything about it.
Yep, for sure.
The Eagles
definitely gonna have to coach him up.
molest the Raiders 31-0.
Bro, this is the second time this year. Was it the same score?
I may be.
Was
I
it
don't know.
31-0 when the Chiefs beat them?
Oh yeah, I think it was.
I think it was 31-0.
That has to be an NFL record of some point. Like
being outscored by 30 points,
like
and putting up
multiple
0 points,
30
like
plus
multiple
points,
times.
You know, held scoreless, and they may have done it more than that. I don't know. Probably not, but
I'm pretty sure those are the only games they haven't scored touchdowns, or at least some points. One game I want to talk about, not really game, but Jaguars beat the Jets 48-20. I really just want to talk about the Jaguars. So if you watched last week's episode, I was kind of kicking myself because here in the offseason, I fell in love with Liam Cohen, like romantically, and
in a
basically,
intense, passionate manner.
intense, exactly.
You were sending him letters.
My whole thing was like, my whole thing was like, he is the greatest, but that's not going to manifest much this year, and I'm going to look like a genius in 2026. It turns out that I look like a genius now. The problem is that I missed the hype train.
I feel really, it's the worst place to be for an NFL take.
Because as a team, I'm still I'm more on the hype train, but not as much as a lot of people, even though in the preseason I established perfectly this
You laid an incredible foundation.
I just predicted it a year late.
It's literally, you know what it is? It's the equivalent of The Notebook where he builds the house for her. But if she showed up 2 years early and the house wasn't finished yet, and she was like, what the hell? The house isn't ready for me? That's what happened. And then she rejects you because of that. But I do want to
talk about, I do want to talk about the Jaguars. They've won 5 straight games against easy opponents. Let's just be clear.
But the offense finally turned on because their inferior opponents they were playing early on, the games were far closer than they needed to be, mainly because of offensive struggles.
And a part of it is they just kind of just not been dumb. They've straightened out a lot of the operational penalties, false starts, illegal formations, illegal shifts, crap like that. The remaining schedule: Broncos, Colts, Titans. They should definitely at least go 2-1 in that stretch. Here's the thing, though, and I want to talk about Trevor Lawrence. So the Jaguars have only had one game since week 11, mind you, with a below average EPA per dropback. In fact, their EPA per dropback jumped from 25th in weeks 1 through 10 all the way up to 8th since week 11.
Wow.
And that is for 2 main reasons. The first one is Trevor Lawrence is a lot better outside of the pocket. In week 1 through 10, they produced a negative 0.14 EPA per play when outside of the pocket. But since week 11, it's been a 0.15 EPA per play on those same plays. And more specifically, they've been attacking the intermediate area of the field, something I've been calling for the Eagles to do since the inception of the season. So just they did that well in week 15, but really throughout this entire season. And the biggest reason why is because of Jacoby Myers. And I highlighted this as a potentially really impactful trade. And again, it's one of those things where it's I was so early to the party with all of these hot takes, I just didn't follow through. But right now he leads, since the trade, he leads the team in target share with 23.8%.
Yeah.
Which is something I predicted, let me say. And not only that, but he has a total EPA of 15.6 when targeted, which is 12th among all pass catchers since the trade deadline. But this isn't just impactful for him. This is impactful for the entire offense because it has completely taken the load off Brian Thomas Jr. Early in the season, Brian Thomas Jr. and Trevor Lawrence were on completely different pages. And the struggles with the Jaguars offense was simply just people dropping the ball, dumb penalties, Trevor Lawrence just like overthrowing or underthrowing or just like missing in ways where it's not like he was inaccurate, like he wanted to go there, but it just ended up going here. It was like he intentionally missed where the receiver was because they were just not on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
But since Jacoby Myers has come, it's totally settled Trevor Lawrence in because he has a reliable pass catcher in the middle of the field. And this just reminds me of the importance. It's almost more important in the NFL to have complementary wide receiving core as opposed to a just like high names or like good names wide receiver core. Like, even though like Brian Thomas Jr. obviously is the standout wide receiver in that group, but like what Jacoby Myers has done is it's allowed for Brian Thomas Jr. to be the down the field outside threat that he's supposed to be. It's funny just because when you look at a lot of the drops Brian Thomas Jr. had, they were all in the middle of the field, like 5 yards deep.
Yeah.
And now it's like that's not even something he's trying to catch anymore.
And it's worth pointing out in this game where Trevor Lawrence had 330 passing yards, and the leading receiver in terms of yards for the game was Travis Etienne with 73 on 3 catches out of the backfield. And so 330 passing yards spread out across all of these guys. I mean, it's got to feel good for Trevor Lawrence. It has to settle him in. It has to... I mean, we're starting to see again something that we didn't see really except for like the last half of his second year season, the season that he got the 1 playoff win and the comeback against the Chargers. Like, we've officially reached the point where he actually, over these last 5 weeks or so, is playing the best football of his career, objectively.
100%.
Like, we're officially at that point.
The one pushback is the fact that they've been playing not that inspiring pass rushes.
100%.
And so, like, the offensive line has looked a lot better. And it's like, well, is that just because of their opponents? But they also just look better. I guess my point of all of this is to say,
and objectively, T-Lock looks better. His mechanics, I mean, if you compared film of his mechanics from like week 1 to now, he looks
so much
different.
more comfortable. Yeah, absolutely. Like, he just looks so much more comfortable. And I think it's because when you add Jacoby Myers, it shifts everyone into the place they're supposed to be at. And I think that Travis Hunter, before he got hurt, the Jaguars were slowly basically putting him in that role. But even Travis Hunter, like, I don't know. We'll see if
he's a rookie. Myers. He wasn't ready
like
yet.
They have right
at this point. How
they
can
have
you
to
not?
At this point,
it would be organizational malpractice.
Listen, and I'm putting it this year, and I'm putting it out right now for next year. This is going to be a really good pass catching unit. I talked about Brenton Strange in the offseason. I think that Travis Hunter is the perfect yards after catch, like screen game, just finding ways to get him, finding ways to scheme him open in the middle of the field, a little bit of a downfield threat with his ball skills. You have Jacoby Myers, who can attack the intermittent part of the field, who can do the screens, who can be incorporated in the intermediate, just like almost like just a volume type pass catcher. And then you have the deep threat of Brian Thomas Jr. and what he can do on the outside.
Is such an awesome, like you said, if you have the other pieces around him that Jacoby Meyer kind of completes, BTJ is such an awesome wide receiver 1 to have because he's the wide receiver 1 and he doesn't need the plurality of the targets. And that's an awesome position to be in.
And, Liam Cohen is really good in his passing attack, but where he makes his money is his running scheme. And so the fact that you'll always have that floor, and then on top of that, like, this is an offense that can really get going. And obviously I said it in the preseason, I still have a little bit of my doubts and reservations about the Jaguars.
That's fair.
But as a whole, the fact that they are where they are right now is so impressive. And it just shows that my love for Liam Cohen was
Paid
justified.
off. I mean, really, the last
It's-
thing we can say about the Jags is I don't know entirely off the top of my head what their off-season contract situation looks like, but from what I can tell, it would basically just be signing Jacoby Myers and locking him down and then improving in the margins on defense. You do that, this is an AFC contender next season. Maybe not like a Super Bowl
100%.
contender. I can't say that with confidence, but 100% an AFC contender.
I just looked it up because I was like, the timeline makes sense. It looks like Travis Etienne is someone that they might have to
That makes
settle.
sense. Yeah.
But the thing is that like, no offense to Travis Etienne, I kind of feel like with the way, like, well, I believe in Liam Cohen so
With
much
Liam
that
Cohen, you can put a lot of
any
guys in that.
NFL, like, I feel like there's a lot of guys that could.
It's also,
you
this
know,
is
maybe
entirely
it's a sign and
unfair,
trade
and I know
deal,
going to
something like that.
probably tick some people off. And trust me, I love Bucky Irving, and I know part of this is because he's been injured for a lot of the season. But it is worth having the conversation of how much credit
Yes.
goes to Liam Cohen and that scheme. That's just 100% true.
100%.
We can move on
okay,
to a
next game.
collapse, which was, or not a collapse, kind of, but with the Packers and the Broncos.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to talk about next.
Bo Nix finally looked like a good quarterback for the first time this season, outside of one fourth quarter game against the Giants. This is
And Dallas.
And Dallas.
looked good against Dallas.
Dallas is also
But
horrific.
that was Dallas.
That was when Dallas
True.
was at
I
the
mean, they made
peak
9
of
look
their,
good.
They made 9 look good. And to give credit to 9, that Bo Nix played him pre some mid-season trades to improve that
Yeah.
defense.
True. And
But
like when they were injured, like really injured.
and horrifically injured. All of that being said, that way I can still get my Bo Nix digs in before saying that
There you go.
the Broncos played a game. If you get that from Bo Nix, yes, this team will likely win the AFC. The problem is will you be able to get that for 3 straight postseason games? Or I guess 2 if they are the 1 seed, which is likely at this point. Even with 2 straight games, that seems unlikely, but I don't know what I should say more, because in the one hand, you have to say, because Bo Nix played such an unusually good game, you have to give the credit to the Broncos. We do also have to factor in the Micah Parsons injury, which is just crushing.
100%.
That's just terrible for the NFL. Unfortunate that a team that's a playoff team, you're now deprived of watching Micah Parsons in the playoffs. It also still felt like the Packers lost this game in many ways, and some of that has to come on the feet of Jordan Love. Some of it obviously goes on the feet of, or no one's feet, but just the fact that Micah Parsons gets injured. Josh Jacobs only getting 12 carries in a game where at one point in the second half you were leading is a Matt LaFleur problem. If you were leading in the second half, your running back cannot end the game with only 12 carries.
Especially with Josh Jacobs.
It's Josh Jacobs too. He's a top 5 running back in the NFL, I would say. Maybe 5th, but certainly top 5. At least from what we know right now. Maybe those will readjust at the end of the season. But I just felt, for a multitude of reasons, I put this more on the Packers losing than the Broncos winning, even though the Broncos are objectively a great team. So in saying that, I'm holding the Broncos to a higher standard, considering that after this win, they are the best record in the NFL.
Sure. I don't know. I don't really see it that way. I do think that the Broncos showed just like how dominant they could be.
That's fair.
So let me just add some stats to this that kind of back up what you're saying. I just have different conclusions. So first off, it's important to note that the entire season, Sean Payton has created incredible opportunities for deep, like explosive plays, and Bo Nix has just missed. That's the first thing. And here's the numbers. This is so funny. In the first 3 quarters, the Broncos offense ranks 25th in EPA per dropback. In the fourth quarter, they're the fifth best offense according to that metric. And you saw that, you even kind of saw it in this game, but you really saw that throughout the entire season.
Yeah.
And then obviously you just got to talk about the defense. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, but their defense is so incredible, especially their pass rush. But let's look more into this offense. This game, they produced at a 95th percentile in the EPA per dropback. Bo Nix threw for 4 touchdowns. He was incredible pushing the ball down the field, especially to Cortland Sutton. He, interestingly enough, because yes, I do think that the Micah Parsons, you never know how that injury impacted the game and what could have been. But the truth is that this is the longest time to throw that Bo Nix had in a game this season. And the reason why, because, on one hand, you could say, well, that's a negative. And that's just because the Packers were playing a lot of zone coverage. And so you could say that is a positive for the Packers zone defense and that it forced Bo Nix to hold the ball. The problem is that Bo Nix did a really good job outside of the pocket and was protected really well inside of the pocket. He held the ball for a long time, but you didn't see a lot of the negatives that are common to that, i.e. interceptions, lots of sacks, increased pressure rate. It just goes to show how good that Broncos offensive line is. And this is one of those games where a lot of times it's the opposite, but the running game was just pretty terrible, but the passing game really saved them. As far as the Packers go in this game individually, 1 for 4 in the red zone is pretty bad. They lost Watson too, which is a big injury. Obviously Micah Parsons is bad. This is tough for the Green Bay Packers long-term outlook, just because, especially in recent weeks, Jordan Love coming out and just playing incredibly, the Toyotathon Jordan Love, as people are saying, that version was a lot of his best plays were the step back, which is such a unique ability that he has. The step back, dropping the ball in the bucket to Christian Watson.
Yeah.
And so it obviously hurts that he's gone. One thing, we've been talking about the Broncos a lot, and if you followed us and our conversation with the Broncos, I've been really high on them in the preseason. Then they exceeded my expectations more than I could have ever understood, to the point where relative to everyone in the offseason, I was high on them. But then the expectation and the hype around the Broncos reached a point where I feel like I'm kind of low on them now. One of the things that I kept saying is the Broncos remind me of the Chiefs last year. And one thing you've been saying in response to that is that the Chiefs had a lot higher of an offensive ceiling. I really don't know if that's true. And I've kind of just been letting you have that, but I'm going to push back on that a little bit. The reason why is because the Chiefs last year, and this isn't even really about the Chiefs, it's about the fact that the Broncos, Bo Nix is not just playing how Bo Nix normally plays, because this is only his second year, and his whole first season he played way better. And so I feel like, again, and I've said this a lot, one or two things can happen. Either, because what they're doing right now is unsustainable. Either they're going to do what they did in this Packers game in the playoffs, and Bo Nix is just going to play 4 quarters of good football, or it's not going to turn on in the fourth quarter. And I think that because of that dynamic, it provides a situation where it's it is reasonable to say that maybe Bo Nix can turn it on for an entire game and just play competent, regular, good football.
Well, that is technically true. I guess I should clarify, because in one sense you've been letting me have it, so I haven't had to defend it. When I say that last season the Chiefs have a higher offensive output, the way I mean that is kind of a macro version of the way that people talk about Mahomes' running ability, which is that he's not fast, but he's always faster than you. The Chiefs' offensive output last season was they may not blow you out, but they're going to score more points than you. They'll do just enough. And it could be just enough in a game where you're in the low 20s. It could be just enough in a game where you're in the 30s and approaching the 40s, like that happened in the AFC Championship game last season. There's a world, though, in which the Broncos could come into a game, and like you said, that's the difference. Bo Nix could be on the whole game, sure. There's also a world in which the Broncos score 13 points and they're out of the playoffs first game.
The thing is what you just said, I feel like that can still be applied to the Broncos.
That's
because
fair.
they have been in matches where they've scored a lot of points have been scored, and they still somehow, some way. And like, I guess I would just frame it as the defense does just enough. And I think that I want to get to that because, and the reason why it's important, I think, is because when we were talking about the Bills, what did we say? We said that the only defense that I think has the ability to stop them is that really stop them. Maybe the Texans, obviously, because they already have, and the Broncos. The Broncos are in this same boat where I feel like the only quarterback who could possibly really give that defense a run for their money is Josh Allen. And the reason why is because this Broncos pass rush is electric. And I have some numbers and I just want to rant a little bit. So first off, they lead the league in sacks with 58, which is 10 more than second place. Their sack rate is second best in the NFL with 10.05%. And they've had 236 total pressures with a 40.9% pressure rate. That's crazy. Seventh best in the NFL. Talking about one of the reasons why their pass rush is so dominant, outside of just those numbers, is that they can do it from the interior and the exterior. Obviously, they have Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper attacking from the outside. And then on the inside, got to shout out John Franklin Myers and Zach Allen, who each have over 5 sacks on the season. On top of that, they're incredibly good at blitzing. But here's the biggest thing I want to talk about. Their average time to pressure is 2.49 seconds. 55.51% of their pressures come under 2.5 seconds. They're forcing the quarterback to throw the ball in just 3.5 seconds on average. This is where it gets really crazy. The conversion rate of pressure to sacks. They have 58 total sacks, and they have a conversion rate of 24.58%. Which leads the NFL. It's number one. We look at the teams below them. First is the Broncos, 2 is the Browns, 3 is the Falcons, 4 is the Chargers, and 5 is the Texans. And the reason the Browns is basically single-handedly just Myles Garrett. That's another shout out. I just want to say that the Browns are second in terms of pressure to sack rate, and that's just because of one guy, which is pretty crazy. My point is that not only do they have an incredible secondary, not only do they have an incredible linebacking core, but they have the most dominant pass rush that we've seen within the last 20 years. And it's not just that they're getting to the quarterback, it's the speed in which they do it. And for a game that is so dominated by one position, the reason why the pass rushers are the second highest paid position in the NFL is because that's how you mitigate the other team's quarterback.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this and I'm saying, like, Bo Nix, I truly believe that Bo Nix in a playoff scenario can play better than the vast majority of quarterbacks that they're going to play when they're facing the Broncos defense.
Potentially, I think another quarterback that I'd throw into that mix, besides Josh Allen, because of play style and just how well he's played this season, is Drake May. Even though he doesn't have the running ability, he can be a gunslinger outside of the pocket. And you combine that with the explosiveness of Travion Henderson, like, there's a dual threat there that balances out in a similar manner to the Josh Allen, James Cook combo. Sure. But that is about it. I do think it is the Pats and the Bills have the best both combination of offensive style and QB talent to do that. The only other way that the Broncos lose a game, if it isn't to one of those two teams, is Bo Nix playing, atrociously. That's the only other way that they lose playoff games. If they're not playing, if it's not a shootout between one of those two teams, that is how the Broncos lose, is Bo Nix playing poorly.
Yep.
We can move on to an NFC dogfight, or well, I shouldn't say dogfight, shootout. The Rams beating the Lions 41-34. Yet another game where I'm like, the Lions look really good, and yet we're now 3 weeks away from the end of the season, and they're not in the playoff picture.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a world in which they're the best team that's not in the playoffs and probably better than a handful of teams in the playoffs if you combined the AFC and NFC.
Sure.
But the Rams are really good. I am just consistently shocked at how fantastic Matthew Stafford is. I mean, it's a little bit, dare I say, under-discussed at this point, despite the fact that like people have been having MVP conversations. Like, we're watching a 40-year-old just absolutely massacre most NFL defenses.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to win MVP. If I had to place money on it now, I feel like that's more likely than not going to be the case.
100%.
You said it in previewing this game. The Rams do everything that the Lions do, but better. And I
did
think that's
get that
true.
right.
Yeah, that was definitely true. And the big difference in this game, I think, was just how the Rams adapted to the Lions' offensive scheme within the second half. And that's really defensively, which really made the difference. The Lions are so battered up in the secondary that I didn't really see a situation where the Lions would ever get consistent stops against them. That was true. It was just a question of like, okay, but can the Lions like really outpace this in this offensive shootout? The problem is that the Rams have a really good young defense. And it comes down to basically what I've been saying all year, which is that the Lions are really, really good until they play a team that can beat them in the trenches defensively. And all of a sudden that takes away the run game. Jahmyr Gibbs in this game was held to just 2.7 yards per carry on 14 carries.
Yeah.
That's it, right? And like, I feel like we've both done a really, really good job diagnosing the Lions, which is that when they run the ball, because they have an advantage in the trenches, they do incredible. But based on what's happened in this offseason, it's not the play calling. It's not the fact that they're losing Ben Johnson. It's the fact that now all of a sudden they're not consistently winning the trenches on the offense. And because of that, it's leading to unsuccessful run games, and that is leading to them losing.
Another thing you have to shout out is on top of Matthew Stafford. I mean, I would be shocked to know how many times, I'm sure it's happened before, but how many times it's happened. 180 yards on 9 receptions. How many players have averaged over 20 yards per reception when you have 9 of them? That's pretty incredible. We get closer and closer to it, and yeah, like, you could take away from this and be like, well, the defense for the Rams, gives up 34 points, but that defense is young and they're playing a very talented offense. I don't know who's beating this team in the NFC.
I don't either.
I really don't.
I think I truly believe the Seahawks are the best.
Are the only
have the best chance.
I'm probably right there with you. Adam, do you know what else happened?
The Panthers got shocked.
The Panthers got shocked.
Dude.
I'm so in on Tyler Shough.
Okay. Dude, we are shucksters through and through.
I'm a shuckster. I'm a shussler. I don't even know what I am anymore. All I know is
it's
that
funny
man.
How, listen, we've said a lot of things about Saints fans, the degenerate people that they are, but you got to give us credit for the fact that since we've started this whole shucking inside joke of how teams are getting shucked and how, we're shucksters, they've won 2 games. They've now beaten the Bucs and the Panthers.
I mean, single-handedly preventing the Panthers from being the clear favorites. I mean, come on now, Bryce Young.
So stupid.
You've played pretty
guys.
well this season, and yet you got swept by the Saints.
That's crazy.
And
they made a comeback too. The Panthers had the game. They absolutely fumbled.
And I was, and to be clear,
ridiculous.
like I even though I was joking last week, I was, I did see a lot in Tyler Shough, But despite that, I was kind of making fun of him for, winning a game, throwing 141 passing yards and an interception. And in this game, he proves me wrong, throws for 272 and a touchdown.
Yeah,
he had 32 passing attempts. He completed 24 of 32 passing attempts.
Let's go.
And it wasn't like the Saints had
a
a run game. They didn't even have a rusher crack 50 yards.
No, dude, it was Tyler Shuck.
I mean, we were correct in our, I'm starting to already regret putting them in my top 5 worst QB situations in the league in a video that we put out last week. And I did put an asterisk on that, which was part of this is really more so everything around the QB situation. A few more weeks of this, I'm not saying the Saints even have to win games, but a few more weeks of around this level of play from Tyler Shuck, and he is undoubtedly the starting quarterback for what you would assume would be the entirety of next season for the Saints.
Well, and listen to this. Listen to their schedule. They could mess around and make a run.
Now, I
Jets,
don't know if they
Titans,
want to mess
Falcons.
around. Well, that's a good point. They might not even have a choice.
No, they just might do it. They might be favored in 2 of the next 3 games.
Did the Saints end the season on a 5-game winning streak? Where are we at?
For no reason. They're 4-10. They mess around in 3-win games, end the season with 7 wins. They could have a better record than the Chiefs.
Okay, I don't want to hear
It's true.
We're a family-friendly show.
The Chiefs are probably going to beat the Titans and Raiders.
I wanted to drop an F-bomb,
but still,
right then.
No, you want that. Who cares, dude?
I mean, at this point, I guess I do want
Tank for
that.
Jeremiah Love.
Tank for Jeremiah. Oh, my goodness. Don't even give me.
Could you imagine? That's what I'm saying.
Oh, having dirty thoughts all of a sudden. Why don't we lose to Cam Ward? I'll take it at this point. It's you know what? If we don't lose to the Titans, Andy Reid, your days are numbered.
Dude, Gardner Minshew is about to put on a masterclass.
Minshew mania.
Bro, I really want, just against, the Raiders, it would just be so funny if, Gardner Minshew just went off and, set
we beat him 31-0
amount of passing yards in a game. Yeah, he has 500 passing yards. He just shatters some Mahomes record. That would be so funny after immediately just basically blowing the season.
I mean, as soon as Mahomes went down, the season was already blown, but it was salt in the wound.
It really, I don't know. Anyway, we can move on from, hurting your feelings. But
that's okay.
Last thing we got to talk about. Phillip Rivers survived and wasn't terrible.
I mean, if it wasn't for the Colts defense, just absolutely screwing itself over, Phillip Rivers would have gone down with a game-winning drive, and it would have been more of a game-winning drive than Caleb Williams has had all season, despite having 6 of them on the record.
True.
And to be clear, I like what Caleb Williams has done this season, but Phillip Rivers survived.
He lived. He is breathing as we speak.
I'm not entirely, it's a situation that I'm working on. I've made a lot of progress. I'm not exactly in a place to be able to make fun of it. My God, does that man have a gut? Just the full old man gut on display. He did the fist pump celebration, and you got the full 360 of him, and he looked like Homer Simpson. And I was like, that's incredible. I love that so much.
Gosh. Listen, it's an inspiring story.
It is
inspiring. His
the clip of his high school team watching it at the I don't even know where they were watching it. It all going crazy when he throws a touchdown. I mean, he literally came, for all intents and purposes, off the couch.
He literally came.
Okay,
boss.
You're making something out of nothing there, pal. That's crazy. Don't do that to me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, there was just enough of a pause for me to be like, oh.
He came off of the couch. departed from his home after 5 seasons or 5 years of nothing and threw a touchdown pass in an NFL game and led what would have been a game-winning drive. I don't know.
The Seahawks just...
Do you think,
score,
like,
basically.
is there a possibility that the Seahawks just kind of, like, folded under the Phillip Rivers pressure?
Maybe, dude.
Like, is that why this
know.
game was close? Did it just kind of psych them out to look across the sideline and be like, there's just an angry 44-year-old man over there that has, like, 12 children?
Can we sack him? That feels wrong.
Yeah. It was a moral dilemma.
What do we... Yeah, it was like, what do we do?
But, I mean, in one sense, yeah, it's not the outcome that we would have all loved, but Phillip Rivers, incredible story. That'll go down forever.
Great job.
And the Seahawks do get the win, though, and maintain their viability to somehow still be the NFC's #1 seed.
Yeah. Pretty impressive.
And then the Vikings did horrific things, too.
I forgot about that.
I mean, 9 took him out back and shot him.
He did.
After we were saying that 9
need
needed to be taken out back, 9 took him out back to the woodshed.
Yeah, no, that defense, man. That clip of Kenneth Murray, they were like in the red zone. Have you seen that? It was just like a handoff on like the 5-yard line, and Kenneth Murray just like shot the gap, and it was entirely the wrong gap.
I did not see that,
bad.
but I'm sad.
It was like someone get Kenneth Murray a map. It was like, ah.
I mean, if
tough
9 is gritting on his way to the end zone, you know that you're a bad defense.
Yeah, you might be cooked. I mean, hey, it was the same play where Peyton Manning scored. And it was
that is true, and that is what everyone thought about. That Alex Smith, when he was on the 49ers, also had a play exactly like that. Sometimes that gets you, the immobile cracker. He lulls you to sleep.
That's what they call the play, actually. The immobile cracker.
The immobile cracker. That's a Jay-Z song.
Oh my gosh. I think that's it, though. Monday night is happening as we're recording. Right now, it is about to be the end of the half, and the Steelers are up 7-3.
Well, remember when you predicted the Dolphins to outright win? That takes us right into week 16 predictions. We've closed the book mostly on week 15. One of it's still going on right now. We play a little game around here, folks. We predict every single NFL game that happens throughout the course of the season. If you get the game right, you get 1 point. If you get it wrong, you get no points. But there's a little wild card. Every week you get an upset alert, which is where if a team is an underdog by 2.5 points or more, you get to do one of two things. You can pick them to either cover the spread, in which case you get 3 points, or you can pick them to outright win, in which case you get 3 points plus however much the spread was. But if you get those things wrong, then you lose points, losing more points for an outright win prediction versus just picking a team to cover. That being said, I only gained 6 points this last week, partially on account to losing some points due to my poorly picked Cardinals to cover the 10-point spread against the Texans.
Oh, I forgot about that, man.
Yep. So I currently have 150 total points. Adam, currently right now you sit at 10 points. However, that could swing +6 or -3, depending on whether or not the Dolphins beat the Steelers, which is happening right now. So currently you sit at 161 points with an 11-point lead. That could either jump to a 17-point lead or shrink back down to an 8-point lead. And bye-bye
poster.
My
poster just fell. Why does that poster, no matter where I am,
it doesn't matter. You moved studios, and that poster still just falls.
I'm gonna find better freaking poster frames because these cheap ones from Amazon are not good. But anyway, we can move on. I'm not gonna let this get me down.
Yeah, that would be the thing that breaks your spirit.
Also, speaking of my set, some guy on our most recent video, this guy commented, he was like,
flamed
hey,
you.
by the way, that pothos plant, it just needs some sun. I'm trying, man. I'm trying to become a plant guy, and I'm not good at it.
Shout
so
out
give
to
me some
you,
praise,
man. That
but
made my
good
day.
look on that.
That made my
That was
day
so
reading that
funny. I
comment.
was
Being
like, I
like, yeah,
appreciate
screw
you.
your plan. If that commenter happens to be watching right now, which we'd love the fact that we retain you, Adam kills his plants constantly. I don't think a single plant
true.
has ever survived ownership.
I try, man. The thing is, the only reason that plant is alive is just because.
And you're a nurse. We trust human
so
lives
hardy.
to you, and you can't keep a plant alive.
I can't, dude. I just forget to water it and such.
The one thing you have to do.
It's literally, it's not even like I just forget to do the only thing I have to, basically, which is like sunlight and water. But, we can move on.
Thursday night football of week 16, Rams at Seahawks.
Awesome game.
The game that will pretty much decide probably not only who wins the NFC West, but also the number 1 seed in the NFC. A massive game on Amazon Prime, Thursday night football.
Where are you going with this?
I have to stick with my gut and say that even though the Seahawks might be the team that is closest to them, the Rams are just the better team all around. It may be in the margins, but I just think if it comes down to a QB duel, and I know that there's other factors beyond the QB duel where, JSN for the Seahawks has had an incredible season, but I'll still put up Puka Nacua to JSN if you're throwing in the fact that Matthew Stafford is throwing him the ball and Sam Darnold is throwing JSN the ball.
Yeah, I'm picking the Seahawks. I picked them last
That's
time
fair.
and they lost a really close game. I believe in them, man.
It is at home.
So
I love Lumen Field is going to be rocking.
Oh yeah, it is.
I have to respect that. It's not your upset. What's the spread on this game? Seahawks by 1.5?
It's like, yeah, it's really. It might be Rams by a point.
Rams by 1.5. Yeah, that would make more sense. I don't know why I said Seahawks.
Yeah.
But Eagles at Commanders. I'm keeping it simple.
I'm taking the Eagles.
I'm going Eagles. Part of, again, fulfilling my narrative that the Eagles are not really still that good, and yet their end of season schedule is so bad that people are going to trick themselves into thinking that they've bounced back heading into the playoffs.
Yep.
Packers at Bears, another massive game. Now, Packers now at this point really probably aren't viable for the division, depending on it, but this game is actually rather important for the Lions, because all of a sudden, if the Bears win this game, then the Lions are actually probably competing, even though they don't have the tiebreaker against the Packers. There's a real situation in which if the Micah Parsons injury really hampers the Packers, it could be the Lions and the Packers fighting for the 7th seed.
Yeah, I like the Bears in this game.
I like the Bears as well.
I think that the Packers, it's just tough to lose Micah Parsons. I think that the Bears will be able to run the ball, and Caleb Williams will do just enough.
I mean, the fact that Caleb Williams has already improved so much from last season in dealing with pressure, and now you're removing the Packers' best pass rusher from the equation. It's hard for me to not factor in the fact that they had a chance to go down with a game-tying drive, nearly executed it, and now they're at home. The Packers don't have Micah Parsons. I'm taking the Bears.
I'm with you.
Bills at Browns.
I'll take the Bills, but I feel like this could be the game where
you think Myles Garrett 2 sacks?
I think he could, man. It's one of those things where it's like, obviously Josh Allen is really, really good at not getting sacked, but I just can envision this world where just like It's kind of like, the Favre Strahan thing where it's
Yeah.
like the Bills are going to be up by so much. Like maybe Garrett gets like a sack early and then Josh Allen is just like, all right, man. like we're already up by like 20. Like
It would be kind of wild if he breaks the record against Josh Allen. That would be something.
Yeah.
Chargers at Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm taking the Chargers. I think if 9 can do what he did against the Cowboys, just an actual NFL quarterback can do just as good, if not better.
So here's the thing. The Chargers are still entirely viable in the AFC West. This is the game that they Charger it up. They're going to lose to the Cowboys. The Chargers consistently, this is not my upset alert, but the Chargers, I thought that this year would be different. I thought this would be the year they'd break through and really compete for it. And in a sense, they are competitive, but this, through not necessarily some fault of their own, which is how injury riddled that offensive line is.
It's pretty terrible.
I do really think that the Cowboys defense can play fine enough with how injured that offensive line is. And I'm not staking too much of a claim on it. It's not my upset alert. I just sense something weird happening.
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
Chiefs at Titans. Gardner Minshew versus Cam Ward. This feels like an appropriate time to bust this back out again.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I guess the Chiefs, like, surely, right?
Give me the Chiefs.
I guess, but whatever.
And I almost hope that we don't. But Bengals at Dolphins.
I haven't even put much. I kind of feel good about the Bengals in this game.
I
don't
weirdly
know.
do
I
as
just feel
well.
like Joe Burrow is going to play for pride. Like
I'm in the exact same boat, and it's just really shocking. Obviously, we don't know the outcome of the Dolphins-Steelers game, but it's unnatural that the Dolphins have won 4 in a row. I don't think that they end the season on good vibes, even though they know they're technically not mathematically eliminated. Obviously, if the Steelers beat them, they will be. Yeah, I have a hard time envisioning the Dolphins just ending the season winning like 7 of 8 games. Give me the Bengals.
Okay.
Another shucking on the horizon. Jets at Saints.
I'm calling it, dude. I'm taking the Saints. I'm breaking the rule. I know we've had this rule.
Here's the problem, Adam.
That was before Tyler Shuck.
I'm officially breaking the rule as well, and 100% we're going to jinx it, and the Jets are going to win this game. 100%.
Oh, they're going to destroy them.
But the fact that we are both picking the Saints to win a football game is actually better vibes for the Saints than whatever they do in this game. Like, even if they lose this game, the fact that we're picking them, my goodness, how far we have come. Vikings at Giants.
I just feel like the Giants are doing a really good job securing that number 1 pick, and I think they're going to continue.
Yeah.
Just because, and the other thing too is that, like, while the Vikings, like, obviously they're eliminated, whatever, they still have like something to prove and like reasons to win because of the quarterback situation.
Yes, 100%.
The Giants don't.
No,
So.
Kevin O'Connell wants to get as much football practice and reps in for J.J. McCarthy as possible. The Giants, I mean, you could argue the same thing with Jackson Dart, but not really, considering that they don't have probably 50% of the head coaching staff that they're going to have next season unless they hire the interim for some reason. So, yes, give me the Vikings.
You said head coaching staff. I thought you were just going to stop after head. They don't have 50% of his head.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, Jackson Dart might not have 50% of his head.
True.
he's entered concussion protocol in half of his games. Buccaneers at Panthers, a game that will likely determine.
Let me do some
I
research.
mean, if the Panthers had
You
actually
speak.
beaten the Saints last week, then them winning this game would have all but secured the division because they would have a game up plus the tiebreaker, but now you're 2 games up plus the tiebreaker, or at least the split on the tiebreaker, which means it nullifies it. I don't know. Do the Buccaneers really lose 5 in a row? I mean, I legitimately think that there are Bucs fans out there that want them to lose this game. I think that they would legitimately, and maybe that's silly, passionate
Just to
head
get
coaching fans,
Mr.
but they really,
Yeah.
like, because here's the thing, pretty much the only, I mean, is there a world in which Todd Bowles gets fired after the season, even if they win the division, if they get like blown out or shellacked in the first playoff game? 100%.
Yeah.
But if they lose the division and miss the playoffs, they're 100% firing him. And so, I don't know. I think I'm taking the Panthers, and though I don't feel good about
Okay.
it. And I said earlier in this episode I was
So-
leaning the Bucs, but I think I have to go Panthers.
Here's the thing. If there's one thing we know about Bryce Young is that he's a man of habit in terms of the teams that he plays well against, he just always plays well against them.
Yeah.
The Bucs are not one of those teams.
No.
He's 0-4 long term. I've said it before. Bryce Young is the easiest quarterback to predict how well they're going to do simply based on like body language and confidence. I just don't see it, man. I'm taking the Bucs.
Okay. I respect that. And that's probably correct. Again, that's not an upset alert of mine. I don't even know if the spread is wide enough for it to be. It might be.
Probably not. I think it's a lot of these spreads are 1.5 points.
I know. Well, and the Panthers being at home, it shortens the spread, I'm sure. We can move on to a pretty massive game. Jaguars at Broncos. All of a sudden, this is a real fun one. And if the Broncos win this, then because one of their games remaining is against the Chiefs, they're pretty much set for the number 1 seed in the AFC. This is the last real game, because if they win this game, even if they lose to the Chargers, it doesn't really matter. They have the game to spare, plus the tiebreakers play out from the math as I understand it. So where are you leaning, Adam?
Yeah, I'm taking the Broncos.
Yeah. I am taking the Jaguars. Screw you.
Oh, snap.
I'm taking the Jaguars. I don't care.
Okay.
Now that the Chiefs have been officially eliminated and Patrick Mahomes is injured, I can just be completely biased and say that I hate the Broncos. I will not pick them to win a game ever. And the Jaguars are going to win this game.
Okay, sounds good. No, I just, I've come to like the Broncos because of how right they proved me to be.
And I will actually provide some analysis. Trevor Lawrence is playing his best football at the best time.
Sure. This is definitely, like, if they can provide, like, listen, if the Jaguars don't have to win, if they score over 2 touchdowns in this game, I'm going to
if they score 24 points in this game, if this is like a 24-30 win for the Broncos, like, Jaguars are for real. Next game, Falcons at Cardinals. I have the Falcons returning back to the pattern of being a bipolar team and losing to the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think I actually have the Cardinals in this one.
Yeah, I really wished that you didn't. Some of these games, I feel like you're piggybacking off of my analysis here, my pick. I wanted to split from you. I need more difference. I'm mad at you.
Why?
No, not in response to that.
Don't you want us to split?
No.
Don't you want us to split so you can get ahead?
But no, I'm saying I wanted you to pick the Falcons so that I get a point if the Cardinals win. Because I have to make up ground in our game, Adam.
Right, but didn't you pick the Falcons?
No, I said I picked the Cardinals.
Oh, no, you said you picked the Falcons.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, I think so. I heard you say you might not have.
I don't think I did.
But I'm picking the Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm picking the Cardinals as well.
Oh, I thought for some reason I was under the impression you were picking the Falcons.
No, I was saying I think the Falcons return to being the most bipolar team. They beat the Bucs and then lose to the Cardinals.
Right. So I was confused because you said that, and then I'm pretty sure the next thing you said was, "I have the Falcons."
Run back the tape.
The point is, we're both picking the Cardinals.
God.
But I just want to say, I wasn't backing off of you because I thought you picked the Falcons.
I guess it's fair. We both come out of that. You know what? I'll call it a truce, Adam.
That's why I had no response, because I was like, no, I'm doing the thing you want me to.
Dang it. Steelers at Lions.
I have the Lions.
Such insightful analysis.
I hate the Steelers. They can suck an egg.
Your Steelers hate is for me with the Broncos. I also have the Lions here. I just think they're the better team. We can move to a Raiders game. Raiders at Texans.
I have the Texans, man.
I
think the Raiders are the worst football team in the NFL.
I've been saying that for like 6 weeks now.
I know
Adam,
you have,
and longer than that. I've watched them play the Chiefs. I've been saying since then. I was like, because I don't think I had watched a Raiders game like start to finish that season so far. I watched that and I was like, oh, how are people not mentioning that this is just the worst product in the NFL by far? Like, this is just the worst.
They don't even have Shock.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
A pretty massive game for the Ravens season, and the Patriots trying to stay alive for the 1 seed and keep some distance on the Bills. Patriots at Ravens in Baltimore. It's going to be a cold one. It'll be fun. I will actually be pretty much right next to Baltimore while this is playing. If my plans had changed slightly, I actually had initially thought I would be attending this game. Then it got flexed to Sunday Night Football. Couldn't make it work, sadly. So
that's unfortunate.
Adam, the spread in this game.
Yeah, they're my upset alert. I was nervous it'd be yours too. The Ravens, the Patriots are favored by 3 points. 2.5 points.
A full 3 from what I saw.
Oh, 3 points? Oh, there you go. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, FanDuel had the line at 3 full points for the Ravens. And I understand that they get 1.5 points because it's home field advantage. That's saying that, like, that is Vegas saying that even if you give them a full 2 points, they think that the Ravens on neutral field are better than the Patriots.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Are you picking them to outright win?
Yeah, I've got the outright win.
Me too.
Same as you.
Me too.
I mean, I assumed that you would pick that. Unfortunately, for reference, folks, we don't know each other's upset alerts ahead of time. I was hoping.
I just saw it and I was like, oh.
There was really nothing else this week that stuck out.
Because there were just so many games that were either blowouts or 1.5.
It was Jaguars and Broncos was the only one, but I wasn't confident enough to pull it.
Right. Meanwhile, well, to make you feel a little bit better, the Steelers are now up 14-3 on the Dolphins. So that looks like my Steelers hate did not.
Yeah, I told you were jumping the gun on the Mike Tomlin. He's going to beat the Dolphins, but then he's going to lose to the Lions, and it's going to be close. There's a lot of ways that this could still play out where Tomlin does Tomlin-y things.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Now, the last game, Monday Night Football, 49ers at Colts. The 49ers are playing to somehow get to 11 wins and pretty much clinch a playoff spot.
I hate the 49ers this year. They're really ticking me off how they keep winning games. It makes absolutely no sense to me. I cannot. Like, how are they doing that without Fred Warner or Nick Bosa?
I know it more so pisses me off because all of their best and most fun players to watch are injured and they're still winning. And I'm like, even if they make the playoffs,
it's just George Kittle.
I don't get to watch. Well, I have beef with George Kittle, but
Oh, okay.
The Travis Kelce argument, all of that stuff. We've beat him in 2 Super Bowls. He can suck it, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay.
George Kittle, friend of the show. I do.
He is a friend of the show.
I do deep down like
Listen,
you.
I like any tight end that can block like he can. I'm a fan of.
That's 100% fair. You do have to respect that. I mean, the Colts are playing for their season, the 49ers, but the 49ers are also, they're not playing for their season, but this is a meaningful game. They clinch playoffs if they win this. I don't know. I mean, Phillip Rivers, it was a fun thing. Now you're having to deal with Phillip Rivers recovering at 44 years old from a week of NFL football. Like, did we get a wellness check? Like, did Phillip Rivers wake up this morning? Like, I haven't heard anything.
Do we have confirmed reports?
I'm genuinely serious that I might need that. Like, he could be dead.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I have the 49ers.
I guess I have to pick the 49ers. And the thing that is hilarious too is the fact that they could be like playing the Bears in the wild card round and win a playoff game.
Well, when we did, like, what if the playoffs started right now? At that point, the Bears were the 1 seed. And one thing I said is that the only team I think I would take over the Bears the only team that I would take to like lose to the number 1 seed was the 7 seed at the time, which was the 49ers.
And I'm not that confident in that. I still think
no, me either.
But anyways, that is our picks. We matched up on upset alert. I knew we would. Sorry to be anticlimactic, folks. I am really Adam, am I allowed to switch my upset alert to the Jaguars winning outright?
If you want to, yeah.
I won't do it. That would be a cowardly move.
Okay.
But
well, no, it's more like I'm okay with that just because I think it's stupid. Like, if I thought it was a good call, I would.
If you thought it was, going to be a good call, you'd be like, "No, the rules are the rules. You said it.
No,
you can't."
The rules are the rules, pal. But if you want to screw yourself out of a really good upset alert,
even though I wrote the
alert,
bylaws for this game, you don't even know about some of the secret rules to this game that I will exploit. One of the rules is that in the bylaws, I automatically get however many points that I'm down by +1 in the last week of the season.
No,
and you signed this contract.
No, I'm excited. No, I'm excited to see. We'll have to talk about some wrinkles we can add for the playoffs and the Super Bowl.
Yes, stay tuned for that, folks. Folks, that's the end of this episode. We do it every week. We will react to the previous week. We predict the next week. We have some fun along the way. For me, it's a little bit less fun. If you enjoyed Katanas and me threatening the Chiefs' athletic training staff, then like the video, share it. Visit our social media, check out some of our content there. We have a fun time around here. Stick around. Adam, give me the players whose highlights the fans should go watch. We do this every week.
Oh, man, this is what did we talk about? Bo Nix, ladies and
gents.
All right, fine. Trevor Lawrence.
Okay. I thought you were going to go George Kittle after just shouting him out.
I think we've already done that.
Oh, that's
so
a good point.
Shout out.
Yeah, go watch Trevor Lawrence
kind of
Clemson highlights.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yep. Well, folks, love you, miss you.
Yep. Peace out, guys.